Anytime, any day. Why not right now? Stop looking up to your boss and start being your own boss. Don't work for paychecks. Work for dreams with no regrets. This is Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. If you have the passion, we'll create the blueprint. Now, your host. You know him from his 7 tips to build the business you always wanted, and now you're about to hear a lot more. Jack H.M. Wong.
Welcome, and welcome to another episode of Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. And today, I'm so happy because I've invited Claude Brooks, and he's going to share with us his business messages, experiences, and we are going to have fun for the next 30 minutes. To cut the long story short, maybe I'll just quickly introduce who Claude Brooks is. He is the CEO of the C to the B Productions, and after producing and starring in the Clock Crips and Hits, both of which were Paramount projects, Paramount Network Television gave him a first look production deal, which thrived for 8 years. He has executive produced over 300, is a lot, right? 300 episodes of TV, such as MTV's sketch show, The Licorice Lounge Show, The Second Time Around, and half-an-hour sitcom starring Boris Kodjoe and Nicole Ari-Parker for UPN Dance 360, starring Fredro Starr and Kel Mitchell for Paramount's syndication. Well, a lot of these shows actually are quite famous in North America, and I would like him to explain some of these shows later on. So without further ado, let's welcome Claude here. And Claude, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Jack. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, your show is Hip Hop Harry. That's the first thing that I heard. I read and I got your information. I say Hip Hop Harry. And it sounds very interesting. And I look at your profile picture. It's telling me a lot of things about. I'm going to have fun in the next 30 minutes. Well, maybe I would like you to do a very quick introduction of how you actually get started with your show business. Maybe let our audiences know your background.
Sure. So, Jack, I started off as a child actor, and I did a lot of TV shows. I go all the way back to the Cosby Show. Yeah. So I used to reoccur on the Cosby Show and like 227 and Amen and a bunch of television shows as an actor, and then eventually that led me to starring in some of my own shows like True Colors and Hits. And when I was in my late 20s, I wanted to start producing. And since I was having a lot of success as an actor already, it was easier to make the transition into producing. And that's when we started C to the B Productions. And we do a lot of popular culture shows, shows that deal with pop culture, like Second Time Around and Dance 360, and one of the shows that we're going to be talking about a lot more later with this conversation is Hip Hop Harry, which is a children's show, kind of like, have you ever heard of Barney?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Hip Hop Harry is similar to that, except way more cooler and interesting, and we use rap, to help with telling the story and everything. And as you know, Asian culture, they really love rap. So yes. we have a lot of followers across the world, but specifically, throughout Asia, we get a lot of views on YouTube throughout Asia. Yeah.
Can I just share with you something, Claude? Because my son, he's now 17 years old, and as he grows older, he likes a lot more the adult songs. But when he was then a teen, and my 2 daughters aged 13 and 12, who are obviously teens right now, and they love all these rap things. I mean, to me, it's like, I'm 48 now. I have no clue how they can regurgitate, recite all these lyrics. To them, it's like speaking a very different language. It's their language, which for me, I don't really understand. So I believe that this is actually a very good attraction to the teens. I mean, if I get your audiences right correctly, because really, to me, this is the language. And you do have a very nice crowd to work with.
No, you hit it on the head. Well, a lot of the kids, they're listening to what their older brothers or even their parents listen to, right?
Right.
Because Jack, 48 isn't old at all. But
Thank you.
that's not old at all.
Thank you.
And here in the States, a lot of folks, a lot of parents who are around your age, they grew up also listening to rap music,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Like Run
I
DMC
see.
and Beastie Boys and Jay-Z. Like that's part of their age group. So
Right.
they're really open to just finding rap that's really positive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Hip Hop Harry is, because the age group for Hip Hop Harry is like 4 to 10-year-olds.
Right.
Right. It's that's the main aspect of it, and what ends up happening on the Hip Hop Harry shows. We here in the States, you can find it on Roku and Amazon, but YouTube is the biggest one because it's free, right? So you
Yep.
can see that anywhere around the world. You just type in Hip Hop Harry, you'll get some great programming.
Yeah.
You see, we use rap as a tool to teach the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And rhyming is one of the best tools for teaching, because you remember it. You remember the words in rhyming.
That's right.
That's what. And so there's books called like Dr. Seuss.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I read that often.
Children's books, and that's all based on rhyming.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what rapping is. Rapping is rhyming.
Right.
So we developed this show years ago.
Right.
So since we're talking about it, I'll just give you the background on that. So with Hip Hop Harry is one of the shows that we own. Mm-hmm. So we own all aspects to it, all the content, the music, and everything, as well as the merchandising. And we were on Discovery Kids for 6 years. And Discovery Kids went off the air. We weren't doing much with the brand. When it was on the air, we would, during the summers, we also have a live show. So we do like 40 dates during the summer and everything. But when it went off the air, we weren't doing anything for a couple of years. And then a friend of mine who works for YouTube was like, "Hey, how come you're not putting up the Hip Hop Harry content on YouTube?" We started doing that, getting a pretty good following on that. But we have a huge following on Roku and Amazon, those platforms. We get a lot more views than on YouTube. But with all the platforms, including Spotify and iTunes, because we have the songs as well, we do over 500,000 views or downloads a day.
What?
So
again? How much?
Yeah.
500,000. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. So it's pretty good, and it's it's just becoming, it's building on itself more and more and more, which is why I was interested and excited to talk to you, because you're talking to people who are also outside of just the States. It's just really good to hear their take on what we're doing,
right?
As well as share it with the folks across the world. Because now, what's great about the internet now is the whole world is your platform. It's no longer just where you are,
Right. So one thing I like, since the conversation started about 10 minutes ago, I heard that because you were an actor before, the logical step next is to produce the show. And it's kind of like what I always tell my clients, that when they want to start a business, when they jump out of the plane and get into the entrepreneurship world, they often will ask this question: what business should I start? And what is my passion? They always are struggling with this major issue. And from what I'm hearing you is that for you to start your production is very logical, because you have been doing what you are great at. And it's a no-brainer for you to transition from an actor to a producer. Sounds like this is the logical path for you. Is there anything you can share with these audiences of mine who are still struggling of looking for what business they should start, and why did they find their passion? Is there any tips or insight you can share with them?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question, Jack. You're doing good. You're doing a good job, Jack.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So why that's a good question is because part of figuring out what to jump into as an entrepreneur, first you have to always do something, and you hear this all the time, something that you're passionate about.
That's right.
Because if you're passionate about it, you'll fight for it all of the time, and it won't feel like a job, right? Because in the beginning, unless you're struck with a whole lot of luck, it's always going to be a lot of work, but especially in the beginning, you're figuring out just different ways to approach things. Mm-hmm. So, one, finding out the different things that you're passionate about, but two is also doing a lot of research So,
Okay.
there's no excuse anymore for people to say, I just don't know or understand, when you can just go and Google whatever you want to find
Right.
out.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
so there's no longer that excuse of like, well, I just don't know and there's nobody to talk to. There is. It's called your computer. Go ahead and Google what it is you want to what it is you
Yes.
want to find out.
Yep.
And from there you can learn a lot about the areas that may interest you. The other thing is, before you kind of start in trying to invest your own money or your family's money into an area that you want to do, is to possibly see if you can get a mentor,
Mm.
of some sort. And you'd really be shocked if you put together a list of like the 10 people that you look up to, and you say, these are the people that I would love to get mentorship from, that are doing what you would like to be doing. You'd be shocked if you sent an email or followed them on their social media platforms and just said, hey, I look up to you as as a role model, and have your questions ready to, do you mind if I ask you 3 questions that I can either email to you, or maybe we can just get on the phone. Successful people want to help people generally. All successful people I've met, somebody helped them get to where they are.
Right.
I've never met anybody who's like, I did this all on my own. I figured it all out. Nobody helped me or nothing. Somebody generally helped them at some point in their life, and they would recognize it. And a lot of people have helped me, along the way. So I try to, do the same
Right.
thing back.
Okay.
Getting some type of mentorship, really important, as well as, even doing an internship, even if you think you're too old or whatever. Having an internship at a place where you can learn for free and you're giving them your time, is really a great trade. Because guess what? You're not putting up your own money to figure out and making a bunch of mistakes, which is what
Right.
most people do. They end up putting up their own money, or they borrow money or get investors, and they just haven't learned enough about their industry.
Yeah, and this is very, very insightful, because if I were just to summarize the 2 things I've just taken away from what you have said, number 1 is obviously the big word, the word starting with M, not McDonald's, but mentor, because really, really mentors help us a lot. So for myself, I have tons of mentors in my life, and it's true enough that we may think that, well, they will not be available to answer any of our questions, like what you have said very, very nicely. Thank you for that. Is, well, you never know, but if you don't ask, you'll never get it. But if you ask, there will be a probability that they may answer. And this is really, really true from my experience. So the second thing is, I would like to put it that way. It is, you said that, like, there's no excuse of not knowing what we don't know because of the availability of the internet. Like Google is always there. So I do not know the nature of the Americans, because you can confirm that later on. But the Asian mindset is that, well, I'm afraid of asking people's questions, because if I ask, you know what, I look stupid. And I don't know if there's anybody who can help me. So you see, the people in Asia have been conditioned to the blame mode, to the victim mode, and hence a lot of them thought that because of their school experiences, the traditional education system, which is something that I'm against, they have to find their own answer, because if they rely on other people's help, that's called cheating, and cheating is not permissible in schools. So unfortunately, most Asians still carry with this culture, and hence they get stuck. This is my experience when I work with the Asian people. Is that true in America?
Yeah, that's more of a cultural thing that you'll see in Asia than you find here. But you do see it a lot here as well, because a lot of people feel that if they've already spent their money on going to college and all that type of stuff, why they should probably start right at the top, right? And they don't realize that they should do the steps that we just talked about, like get a mentor and everything. So sometimes pride does play into the scenario, maybe not to the degree of what it does, in Asia. But since you guys are aware of that's part of the problem of from a cultural standpoint, now that you know what the problem is, fix it.
Yeah, that's true. If you know the problem, and fix it. Don't just sit down and think of how to solve it, but not taking any action. Okay, so Thank you for that. I want to transition to the next theme of the Hip Hop Harry show. So if I were to ask you, what's the actual message that Hip Hop Harry show carries to the audiences?
Yeah, so the message for the show is One is because it's a show for 4 to 10-year-olds. It also is a show for parents to watch along with their kids, right? So there is some co-viewing. So afterwards, parents can have a conversation with their kids about what they watched, right? And since it's a fun show, parents really like that aspect of it. But what the overall message is about human development.
Wow.
And also moral development too. So we're teaching kids not to be bullies in the show, and how to care about other people's feelings, and why washing your hands is good, or listening to your parents. So there's a lot of social emotional messages that come out of our shows, right? And one of the big themes that's happening right now in the States is bullying is a big deal. Right now, especially with the internet and with social media platforms, kids are doing a lot of bullying.
Oh yeah.
And so that message is also, part of the show. Inclusion is part of the show, because forming cliques is one of the things that people do in school, right?
Yep.
The cool kids hang out, the kids who are jocks hang out, the pretty girls hang out, and so within our show, we're constantly changing the cast. So we have a total of 12 kids. But on each show, we showcase 4. So if you're watching a show and say you like, one of the kids on the show, you like David on the show,
okay,
and you start following him on one episode with three kids, 3 friends he has. The next episode that you see him with 3 friends, they'll be totally 3 different friends. And so it's teaching you, oh, look, David is always making new friends, which that's something that kids really need to learn, right? You got to learn it from somewhere, and it also makes them want to do that themselves when they're out at school or the playground or whatever, to make friends and include other people that may or may not look like you, right?
That's right.
So all of that messaging is involved in our show. It's one of the things that we're really, really proud about.
Right. So the reason why I ask this question is for my audiences to understand, as long as you know exactly your message, it doesn't matter how you deliver your message, because one way or the other, if you know your right audiences, if you have the clear message, like what Claude has done is actually to deliver the message via this Hip Hop Harry show, and is teaching the kids certain values, which obviously is important for their development. And I like the fact that you mentioned that the parents will also have the opportunity to stay with their kids, to learn how to grow their kids. And that is fantastic, because the bonding time between the parents and the kids, to me as a parent, is very, very important. So I wish those,
and then finding something to bond over,
right,
that the kid enjoys and the parent enjoys. That's really hard generally, right?
It's hard.
So that's really really good, because I'm sure with your 3 kids, they've grown up pretty fast, right? Don't you? And you wish you could put in time.
One is almost adult, the other is teens already. Yeah. How do you explain to the parents? Because you did mention something like, because there's so many other shows on digital platform, how do you convey your message properly to the parents so that they don't misunderstand that, oh, Hip Hop Harry is a very unique show, is teaching the kids the core values. It's not another show on the internet.
You know how it works? It kind of works by sometimes doing things like this, by having a platform to have an interview, and they can they'll hear this. The main way parents find out about us is by other parents.
Oh, word of mouth.
Right? It's word of mouth. Yes, it's word of mouth, which makes total sense, because when especially now, most kids are watching their content on their parents' phone or tablet. Right? If you're a parent, especially if they're younger, between the 4 and 10-year-old group, and you want to be able to, it's time to cook dinner, but the kids, are running all over the place, or you can't get them to settle down, or you're out somewhere and they're about to go into the doctor's office or something, and you just want them to be able to focus on something, you'll pull up content on your phone and play it for them. Right. And so a lot of parents will ask, hey, do you have anything that you're watching that you like, that you feel my kid can learn from, as opposed to, because there's a lot of garbage content on the web, where the kids aren't learning anything, or just watching some kid unbox a present.
Right.
And there's something you can learn from that too, but there's not high learning values from those type of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's right.
what you will find is parents just end up talking to each other like, hey, well, what what is he watching right now, or what is she watching, or what's going on? Word of mouth really is one of our biggest tool, and I think for most businesses, word of mouth is always the biggest thing. So it's really important that there's no such thing as like a client or somebody that you go, hey, we don't care about them because they're such a small piece of the action. You don't know how big of a platform they may or may not have with social media, right?
Yeah.
So folks will take a link from our show and put it on their page, and we'll notice, whoa, we got like an extra 50,000 views today. Where did that come from? And it'll be from a parent who happens to have a big following. You never know who your person who's watching or the person who's coming to your business. Always treating someone like they're a star is really important.
Yep, that's right. Totally agree. Client intimacy is the name of the game right now in business. That's what my mentor has taught me. Because you never, like you said, you never know if there's one client or one parent who has a big crowd of followers. One message can spin off into thousands of messages in seconds.
Yeah, it could turn somebody's business completely around, right?
Okay.
Or it could turn it around for the worse.
Right, that's true. And the next question I'm asking, you see, like, what's actually the next game plan? Like, what is the revenue model for Hip Hop Harry? Because after all, it is a business. You can't do charity and get no money coming in. So what is the revenue model for Hip Hop Harry, if you don't mind sharing with us? And how do you plan to scale it to the next level if you have a next level of game plan?
Scale it up.
Yep.
So on the digital platforms, right? All pretty much all the digital platforms that we're on, you actually do receive a revenue for it. So like on YouTube, you see how they play the little commercials before you watch the video.
The advertisement.
So YouTube pays, right? Advertisements there. On Amazon, same thing, but not with advertisements, right? So you can download and buy. So Roku, same scenario. So almost all the platforms, and there's one big platform that we're on, which is called Play Kids, they're one of the top kids apps in the whole world, not just here in the States. So they're in the whole world, and we're one of their top shows, as well. So we do really well, from that, as well as we license the show to other TV stations, smaller stations and stuff like that too.
Okay.
So that's the revenue models is kind of about that, and then also if you go to the Hip Hop Harry website, we also have a which is hiphopharry.com. We also have a store there. And so there's some merchandise there where we sell the DVDs and the CDs and the plush bear and t-shirts. We sell merchandise there.
Right.
So as the more exposure we get on the platforms, is the more the merchandise will sell, or the more people that will want us to do live shows, right? And so everything feeds on itself, because the more live shows you do, what's interesting about a live show is when you do a live show, people will tape it on their phone and they'll post it. And that's almost like having marketing for free, right? And that's what parents do and kids do when they go to concerts. They're posting. I was just at this first concert, and they'll post it. And now the next parent who's looking at someone's platform, oh, I didn't even know they were in town or they have a show. Let's look it up. I want to do something with my kids,
Yeah.
So there's different types of avenues.
What do you see about the next 3 to 5 years for Hip Hop Harry show?
Well, what we want to do is continue making new content, and start integrating new characters.
Oh, okay.
To it as well. So if you think about it, I mean that's what Mickey Mouse is, right? So there's Mickey Mouse, there's Minnie Mouse, there's Donald Duck, there's Pluto, and they've kept opening up more and more characters.
Right.
But when you introduce more characters, those characters can go off and start having their own show as well. Right.
Yep.
And so it just opens up another line of not only just revenue, but just another way of also telling a story.
Yep.
So in the next 3 to 5 years, that's what we want to do, is continue to introduce more characters, and because right now Hip Hop Harry is a male, so maybe we're do singing Sally and bring in a female, and just kind of open it up.
Right. That sounds interesting. And when you mentioned like Walt Disney's character, like Do you have any plans, for example, like look for the angel investors to put Hip Hop Harry as a movie? Like you have different characters being featured in movie, so you have different parts of the movie or different movies of different characters. That might be another great things that I can
Yeah,
see.
no, exactly.
Yeah. That
Exactly.
is something
That's
I.
it.
It's
That's
like
it.
because Walt Disney is very successful on that. It's like Finding Nemo, for example. Then suddenly you have Finding Dory. Then Finding Nemo 2. It's like one character after the other. So it sounds like ooh, and the kids love that. It's like I just share with you my experience because my wife loves my kids too much, and which is a good thing. I'm not discounting anything. But what I'm saying is that like during school holidays, is that my kids,
Mhm.
despite their age, will ask my wife, is there a movie, is there a show that we can catch? They will then see the movie screen list, and there are tons of all these movies, I mean cartoon movies, one after one, and the kids are never sick and tired of going for these movies, cartoon movies, one after one. And to me, it's like, oh, imagine I'm the movie makers, I can make a lot of money because the demand is always there. Whether the times are good or bad, there's still a demand. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, there
yeah,
always is, and
there's
especially for
always it.
especially for kids movies, because kids will watch the same movie over and over and over. You know, they'll watch it
Yep.
20, 30 times,
Or
right,
my
or
daughter,
more.
especially,
And
yes, my younger daughter loves watching the same show 20, 30 times. You're right.
hmm hmm
Right,
Yep, that's it. It's a great market for that. And
right.
if you happen to have a successful children's character,
Hmm.
um, and you manage it the right way, it can it can be around for forever.
Yeah, because you talk about a lot of your being the hip hop Harry show is basically like intangibles to me. It's no like other than the product. I mean, apart from the fact that you do have products to sell, basically the characters, the themes, the messages are all intangibles. Do you have any plans to secure the brand name so that no one else who will exploit your brands illegally? Because in Asia, one of the great thing the Asians come up with is called piracy, which obviously the Americans don't like it. It's like we do have a lot of all these like fake characters, like they mimic like Walt Disney as an example, they mimic the Mickey Mouse, the Minnie Mouse, and they just sell their own products. And do you have any plans to make sure that your brand name is secured legally and properly? Because Asia is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very
we follow all the have the trademarks and all that type of
right,
stuff. But there's but so much you can do, Jack. If someone
right.
is going to try to you know steal the brand and put it out on the black market,
Mm,
that happens all the time, right? But it's always going to be such a small percentage
right,
that
okay.
it's not gonna affect you in a big way. We have seen some people. There was a company that was making Hip Hop Harry outfits for birthday parties so that
Mm,
the character can show up at people's kids' parties and stuff.
okay.
And so that went down, and we had to find a way to get that cease and desisted. But it's not even like what are you going to do? But you put everything you're supposed to put in place for this not to happen. And if it happens a little bit, it's okay. Because
Right.
if it's happening a little bit and it's not hurting your sales in a big way,
Yep.
or hurting, what people should be expecting from you,
Yep.
right?
Right.
It's not. You know what it is a little bit? It's marketing. It's a little bit of marketing, right? It's to a certain degree. If folks go up and they make the counterfeit Hip Hop Harry dolls and
Mm.
they start selling all over Asia, but we have the real ones. Well, hey, you chalk it up to all right. Thanks for the free publicity.
That's true. I mean, like your way you put it, because you operate what we call the abundance mindset. Is I'm not worried about the scarcity. I'm not worried about other people rip me off. Yes, I do. I'm concerned, but I'm not too worried about that because if my brand name is good, it's good. It's actually free publicity, as you correctly put it. It's actually yeah. Thank you for helping me promoting my brand. So that more and more people are aware of that. So I like the abundant mindset.
And there's some things that it won't work for at all, right? Say you're creating, some medicine
Right.
that has proprietary, and if that gets stolen, that's a different brand, right? That's a different
Right.
problem.
Yes. So to my audiences, Claude, I mean, for every show that I'm asking a guest to be on, I always ask them one thing, one favorite quote that they would like to share with my audiences. So Claude gave me this one. It's important to get to your destination and reach back to help others get to their destination. A brilliant quote. Can you elaborate this for our audience?
Yeah, so this is kind of, it's important to get to your destination and reach back to help others get to their destination. It's a little bit about what we were talking about earlier in terms of mentorship, right? So you getting everything that you want, but yet not reaching back to help other people that are trying to get their path going. That's not what we were put here for. We were put here to help each other out. And there's a lot more that will come to you by doing that, right? Because that's just how the universe works that way. If you're good to people, guess what? People are going to be good to you,
right?
And if you're helping folks out around you, you're also building relationships that potentially will be able to help you down the road.
Right.
A lot of folks that I've reached out to help, are now we're in business together.
Right.
Right. So all of that you pay. They call it paying it forward, and it really does. Forward.
You know what I would say? I would phrase another way. I mean, that is my way, obviously. Is you deserve what you get because you serve others first. You deserve because you serve.
I like that. That's it. I like that.
You like that?
I like that. And that's a good one. That's a good one, Jack.
Thank you. So how would my audiences be able to look out for you?
So the best way to follow what we're up to is two things. One is to go to hiphopharry.com, which is the website. But the other thing is if you go on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook and you type in Hip Hop Harry, you'll find all of our pages. You'll find our pages there. And literally new content and things are going up on the platforms almost every day, if not a few times a week.
Right.
But those are kind of the best ways to just to know what the latest is. But the other thing is to go to YouTube and go and type in Hip Hop Harry and subscribe to our page, right? And when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, every time we put up a new video, you'll get an alert.
Right.
And and the kids love that because we do about three new videos a week. We repurpose them and do different ways, for them. So there's a lot of content up there. So those are the two ways that, to really follow along on what we're up to.
Good. You know what, Claude? I will be the first one after this show. Go to YouTube and click subscribe button. I'll be the first one jumping on your show and just to see what's happening. And that's exactly what you said about the word of mouth marketing, because you give good content and therefore people who are inspired will take action. That's precisely what word of mouth is about.
That is it. Word of mouth. And word of mouth is like when we were growing up, it literally is people who talk to each other. It still is that, except now they even have they can use their phone as a device right? So now word of mouth could spread even faster than it used to be able to spread, with all the social media.
Yep. And once again, we have hit 30 minutes already, so I would like to end this interview very shortly. But once again, I really, truly appreciate, Claude, your presence and your sharing of this Hip Hop Harry's idea and all those business lessons that my audiences would love to learn from you. And once again, thank you to be on my show. And to my audiences, thanks for listening to this episode of the Cracking the Entrepreneur Code podcast show. I will look forward to seeing you again with another guest to be on board pretty soon. Everyone, have a good day and bye for now.
To continue cracking the entrepreneur code, subscribe for more episodes and download the Amazon bestseller, Cracking the Entrepreneur Code, 7 Tips to Build the Business You Always Wanted at crackingentrepreneur.com. Learn more about author and host Jack H.M. Wong and book your 30-minute discovery session to overcome any professional challenge at jackhmwong.com/apply.